Imagine you are completely alone. No houses, no streetlights, no other cars. Just a long, dark road stretching endlessly in front of you. On your left, a massive black lake. Deep, cold, silent. On your right, a wall of thick pine trees so dense you cannot see past the first few trunks. That is where I work, every single night. I am a county highway patrol officer. I patrol a 40-mile stretch of desolate two-lane highway that runs right along the edge of a massive freshwater lake. There is nothing out here. No gas stations, no intersections. Just the road, the lake, and the trees. I like rules. I like protocol. In law enforcement, the manual is not just a suggestion. It is what keeps you alive. For 2 years, nothing happened on this road. I want you to remember that. 2 full years. Nothing. Until 3 nights ago. The night started exactly like every other night. Cold. Clear. A thick layer of fog rolling off the surface of the lake and spreading across the asphalt like something alive. At 2:15 a.m., I saw a vehicle ahead of me. A dark-colored minivan, crawling at maybe 30 miles per hour. One taillight burned out, and it was swerving. Not violently, but drifting. The kind of driving you see from someone who has been behind the wheel for far too many hours. I had to initiate a traffic stop. I flipped the switch for my overhead lights. The red and blue strobes exploded into the darkness, cutting through the fog over the lake. The van pulled over onto the narrow gravel shoulder, just a few feet from the drop into the black water below. I stepped out into the cold night air. I walked to the rear of the van and pressed my left palm flat against the trunk lid. Standard protocol. You leave your fingerprints on every vehicle you approach. The metal felt cold. Not just cold from the night air. Cold in a way that felt wrong, like something that had been sitting in freezing water for a very long time. I tapped the window with my flashlight. It rolled down slowly, with a long, squeaking sound. I shined my flashlight into the interior of the van. It was a perfectly normal family. A middle-aged woman driving, completely exhausted, dark bags under her eyes. In the passenger seat, a man in a flannel shirt, asleep, snoring softly. In the back seat, 2 children, a boy and a girl, both sound asleep under a pile of blankets. It looked exactly like what it was. A tired family trying to finish a long road trip before morning. She handed me her license and registration. When her fingers brushed against mine, I felt her skin. It was ice cold, like touching a dead hand. I told her I would be right back. I walked to my cruiser. I called in the plate to dispatch and leaned back in my seat. 10 more minutes and I would be back on the road. Out of pure habit, I glanced down at the dashboard camera monitor. I looked at it to make sure the camera had a clear shot of the license plate. I stopped breathing. The image on the screen was wrong. The vehicle on the monitor was not the dark minivan parked in front of me. The roof was caved entirely inward. The bumper was hanging off by a single rusted bolt. The entire exterior was coated in thick, dark layers of lake algae and waterlogged weeds. The tires were flat and rotting, half buried in thick black mud. It looked like a vehicle that had been sitting at the bottom of a lake for decades. And then I saw the faces. Looking out through the broken back window, staring directly into the lens of my camera, were 4 faces, bloated, skeletal, the skin gray and peeling from the bone. Their eye sockets hollow, dark, empty pits filled with black water. They were smiling, all 4 of them. The mother, the father, the 2 children, completely motionless, just staring into the camera, smiling that wide, horrible, impossible grin. I looked up through my windshield. The minivan was right there. Clean metal, normal roof. The mother watching my cruiser calmly from her mirror. I looked back down at the monitor. The corpses were still there. But now one of them had moved. The corpse of the mother had raised one arm, a bloated skeletal arm. She pressed it against the shattered rear window, and she was tapping. I could not hear it. The cruiser doors were too thick, but I could see it on the screen. Tap. 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 The bone of her finger against the broken glass, still smiling. The radio crackled. Unit 4, I ran the plate. Are you absolutely certain you are looking at a dark-colored minivan? Yes, I am parked directly behind it. Why? What did you find? Those plates belong to a vehicle from a missing persons case. 30 years ago. A family of 4, traveling cross-country. Last seen at a fuel station 4 miles from your location. The vehicle went off the embankment into the lake. Search teams looked for weeks. They never recovered the vehicle. They never recovered the bodies. The license belongs to the mother. Her legal status is listed as deceased. The radio went silent. I looked through the windshield. The minivan was gone. Not driven away, just gone. No brake lights, no engine sound, no tire tracks. Just a massive puddle of thick black water bubbling slowly on the gravel shoulder. And a smell coming through my vents. Rotting fish, ancient mud. Something pulled up from very deep and very cold. I grabbed the gear shift. The cruiser exploded sideways. Something was dragging it, pulling the 2-ton vehicle inch by inch toward the embankment, toward the water. I slammed the gas pedal to the floor. The tires screamed, but we kept moving toward the edge. I turned and looked out the passenger window. Rising out of the black water were 4 figures. The family, but not the family I had spoken to. Bloated, skeletal, jaws unhinged in that wide, impossible grin. Behind each one, fused into their spines, were massive tentacles rising from the lake, using the dead bodies like puppets, like tools. The rotting hands gripped my window frames. The doors buckled inward. The passenger window shattered. A skeletal arm reached through and grabbed the seat fabric. The rear tires went over the edge. 1 second. That was all I had. I grabbed the wheel, locked my elbows, and pushed my foot through the floor. For 1 long, terrible second, nothing moved. Then the front tires caught. The cruiser ripped forward with a wet, sickening, tearing sound. I launched onto the highway and kept the gas pedal flat against the floor. I did not stop until I saw the lights of a gas station. I pulled under the canopy, and I have not moved since. The passenger window is gone. The steel doors are crushed inward by something no accident could explain. And sitting on the passenger seat, in the broken glass, are 3 fingers. Skeletal, severed, coated in thick black lake mud. I am posting this because I need you to hear this warning. If you are ever driving alone, late at night, near a large body of deep water, and you see a vehicle moving slowly ahead of you, drifting, trying to get your attention, do not follow it. Do not pull it over. Do not stop to help. Whatever is behind the wheel, it is not looking for help. It is looking for company.